Come on. Hi, this is Mark at learnhowtogarden.com, and in today's episode of the 10-Minute Gardener we are in the fruit garden, and I'm with Benjamin Ranyard from Higgledy Garden, who's going to be doing the first of a series of films on how to grow hardy annual flowers, both for cutting for the house and to flood your garden with colour. So this is Benjamin Ranyard. Hi Ben.
Hi, hello.
And Ben is a flower grower, and what he does, obviously, you know, the thing is in the name. He grows flowers. He grows hardy annual flowers. What's a hardy annual, Ben?
Well, I grow hardy annuals and I grow half hardy annuals. A hardy annual is basically an annual that will take a bit of frost. It'll take some cold. It might not handle a really cold winter, but a bit of frost, a general winter, it'll be fine. So you can plant them in September, they'll flower early, or you can plant them in the spring.
So in fact, if we plant in September, we'd get colour earlier in our garden.
You do get colour earlier, and the other advantage is you'll get much stronger plants. It'll look like through the winter they're not doing anything. You'll get a small bit of growth, but underneath the root systems will be rocking out, they'll be spreading out, they'll be full of nutrients. So come the spring, they're ready to go, and they'll go early.
So for us for me as a vegetable gardener, that's why you plant autumn onions. It's all to do with the root system. It's the power, isn't it? It's getting the sort of, you know, what's going to power those flowers in the summer.
Absolutely, that's exactly it. So with cornflowers, for instance, you'll get cornflowers that could be 5 or 6 foot, whereas if you plant them in the spring, they'll probably just get to a couple of foot. But obviously there are advantages of spring planting as well, because you'll get flowers much later on in the season. So I do both.
So by doing both, it spreads the season. You can get colour for longer. Because I am right in thinking that with some of these flowers, their job is to flower and set seed in one season.
Yeah, that's annuals, full stop. That's what they do. So they're really not concentrating as much on their root system as perennials are. So they'll have a fairly small root system, but they'll rock it up as fast as they can. They'll try and get their job done quickly. They'll try and get up, flower, pollinate, seed, keel over.
And the great advantage for that as a gardener, of course, is it means that you can change your colour scheme, or you can change what you're growing year by year. You don't have a fixed, you know, once it's in like a tree, that's it for a long time. You can change it all the time.
Absolutely, all the time you can change it. It's as cheap as chips as well. A packet of seeds costs you what, £1, £2, something like that. It's really, you know, it's not very much. And every year you get something different. With perennials, you're stuck with the same old thing. I mean, I do grow some perennials, but I mean, I'm a fan of changing things every year.
I mean, there used to be annuals. I remember from my childhood, my granddad, both my grandfathers who were gardeners, loved annuals. It was, if you like, what brought this sort of real zing and joy into the garden.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it used to be very traditional. My grandfolks as well used to grow them, but now it's pretty much out of fashion. Although it is starting, people growing their own cut flowers is coming back into vogue again.
See, fashion worries me. I think it was Oscar Wilde who once said, if fashion was so important, why do they change it so frequently? Which I thought was an interesting quote. So the basics then, if you wanted to start now and get colour for this year, the first thing you need is seed. So what's the best way to get seed from you? Obviously there'll be a link to the Higgledy Garden website, and I know on there are detailed sort of cultural instructions for all the separate flowers you've got. What's the best way if you want to grow flowers this year?
The best way, or to grow flowers productively, as I do, as opposed to a garden. I have a cut flower garden. So the best way is simply get yourself a bed that's approximately a metre, a little over a metre wide, and as long as you like. Make sure it's absolutely weed free. That's really important. And get the soil down to a fine tilth. Get those things done, and then you're way ahead of the game. Then simply sow in straight drills.
And a drill is?
A drill is effectively, all you need to do is, what I do is I stretch out a piece of string along the length of the bed, and then just scratch a small trench, just, I mean, literally millimetres. As a rule of thumb, you just go approximately a third of the width of the seed deep. People often make the mistake of burying their seeds, you know, halfway towards the magma, and it's just not going to work. So it's just a light drill, and pre-water that drill. Pre-water it before you put your seeds in, not afterwards, because often that just washes all your seeds away.
So it's again, it's much simpler than people would think.
It's really simple.
And I've been up. We're actually in the fruit garden. We've got 4 beds that Ben's going to be growing here, and then he's got 4 of his own beds behind us. We'll show you in a minute. And I've been amazed at how many of those you've sown with your seed collection.
Yeah, the seed collection that I sell on Higgledy has got 20 varieties in it, and that will go a long way if you want it to. You could easily cover 50 square metres with that.
I mean, when I watched Ben sow these beds, it occurred to me that if you've got a new house, if you just moved in on a new development, you could probably do the whole of your front garden and most of your back garden just with Ben's annual collection, which I'm not exactly sure how much it is.
It's £19.50.
So for £19.50, you could cover your garden with flowers, and some of those are even edible, aren't they?
They are, yeah. You have to have a little bit of caution because some of them are very definitely not edible. But things like cornflowers, sunflowers, they're perfectly fine. Melope is another good edible.
Yeah, I know for me nasturtiums are a good edible. We do a lot with nasturtiums. You can make nasturtium pesto, you can make capers out of the seeds, and I think nasturtiums are one of the easiest things to grow.
They're really easy to grow. They love a poor soil. The leaves as well. They're you can put them in salads. They're great.
Brilliant. So we've got these beds, you've sown the beds, we've just noticed that we've already got germination now. That's less than a couple of weeks.
That's about right for outside. About 10 days, 2 weeks, things should be starting to germinate.
And how quickly before we would expect any colour in here?
12 weeks would be probably the earliest from a sowing. For most annuals, it's about 12 to 16 weeks, something like that. At the earliest, I'd say 12 weeks.
So that's the real basics. That's the simple how to start. Obviously, the first thing you're going to have to do is order your seeds from Higgledy Garden, and then prepare your tilth, get them sown in drills. We'll be back here in a couple of weeks for an update to show you what the seedlings are looking like and how you sort of deal with the weeds in between. And hopefully within 12 weeks we'll have some colour in the fruit garden. So that's Mark and Benjamin Ranyard. Thanks a lot, Ben.
Thank you.
And until next time, thanks for watching.